Welcome to the 2300 Picks football site and podcast for news, scores, bets, fantasy, and chat. It will hit you like a QB getting sacked. Welcome to 2300 Pick 6 podcast. I'm your host, Dave Walker, about to do another edition of NFL Schedule Analysis Part 7. We're down to the final 8 teams here. After these two were done, eventually down in August, somewhere down the road, I will give you my division picks, my Super Bowl picks, and playoff analysis picks. And then when we get to kickoff weekend, picks with friends and anybody else wants to come on here. So we'll shuffle this deck and see who it's going to be. When we get to the last one, we won't need the deck anymore because I know which 4 it is. This is the last of the Uno deck. And first card. The Carolina Panthers. Okay, Carolina has a new coach by Mr. Rob Canales. Bryce Young is still there. It's a very young team. They're in a full rebuild. So we'll see what their schedule pertains, and I'll give you my analysis of them right now once I pull up their schedule. Carolina's first game is against the New Orleans Saints. That game is going to be a loss. I see them 0-1. The Saints will demolish them. In New Orleans, it's not easy to play in the Dome, so I will take the Saints on that one. They'll lose that one to be 0-1. Their second game is against the LA Chargers. That one I'm going to take the Chargers, and this is the second game for John Harbaugh. Harbaugh and company will get the win here, so I don't see a win here. They're going to be 0-2. Panthers-Raiders. If this game was in Carolina, I would give Carolina a chance, and I really don't think this is going to be that good of a game. Now, I don't know how Gardner Minshew is going to do for the Raiders, but in this instance, might not be that good of a game. I know Carolina does not have a baseball team. They have a hockey team. The Vegas Raiders do. So I have a feeling this could turn into a LA Golden Knights game versus a Carolina Hurricanes game. So I will take the Raiders in this one being in Vegas. So they're going to go 0-3. Next game they have is against the Bengals. That's going to be 0-4. You're going to get demolished by them. There's no way you're going to hang with the Bengals. So that's 0-4. Next game is against the Chicago Bears. If the game was in Carolina, I would give Carolina a shot to win. But with Caleb Williams, I think this will be a win for him here. Very close. I don't really see this one being very good here between these two. This could turn into a Hurricanes versus a Chicago Blackhawks game. So I'm going to take the Bears on this one. Panthers-Falcons. Falcons will win that one. Panthers, I don't see the Panthers. I don't see Kirk Cousins. The only other way I can see Atlanta win that game, Carolina win that game, is if Kirk Cousins that game. That would be the only other way. But in the daytime, he cannot fuck that one up. So I'm going to take Atlanta in that one. Carolina and Washington. Again, if this game was in Carolina, I'd give them the Duke here. But no, unfortunately, I'm going to give Washington a win here. This one could be a very slow, boring game down the road. And I would say it could turn into into a Capitals versus Hurricanes game. So I will take the Commanders on that one. That's another loss here. Carolina, Denver. Denver gets the win here. I say very close. Zach Wilson gets it done closely here. So I give Denver a win there. Saints, Panthers. I'll go to Saints on this one. They're going to get swept by Carolina. They're going to get swept. So Carolina's going to get swept by the Saints. Giants, Panthers in Germany. Honest truth, in this game comes, as much for this podcast, I'd have to watch. But in this one, I really would not even say it's worth getting up at 9:30 in the morning for this game. It's not even worth it. And I could see this turning into either well, I really don't think the Giants are like the Yankees. I think the Giants like the Mets cocky all the time. I think they're that good. So this could be worse. This could turn into either, I'm not going to say the Rangers, because Rangers are actually a good hockey team. Maybe an Isles Hurricanes game. Give a loss there. I could see Baker having a field day against them. Panthers, Eagles. The Eagles will sweep. The Eagles are going to smoke them. I wouldn't be shocked if Philadelphia shuts them out. Cowboys, Panthers. I wouldn't be shocked what happened last year that another Cowboy invasion here happens again. I'm not saying Dallas will shut out Carolina. I think it could be the same score as it was last year between these two. Arizona and Carolina. I'll take the Arizona Cardinals in this one. I think Arizona gets a win here. Bucks, Panthers. Bucks get the sweep here. And then the last one is Falcons, Panthers. Falcons get a win, and that's all she wrote. So out of all this, I broke down. I see the Carolina Panthers being the first 0-17 team. I don't see it occurring. They're going to be 0-17. I don't see any wins here. So unfortunately, a lot of Carolina fans may be watching this. I apologize, but I see you going 0-17. Now, if a win does occur, then there will be an apology, and I will hit this button.
where D-Rock was wrong.
But we'll wait and see what occurs with that. Next team on the list, Atlanta Falcons. Pulling up their schedule right now. For Atlanta, they got Kirk Cousins as their quarterback. They have a new coach. Now, can they finally make it to a playoffs for their first time? We'll wait and see what happens with the Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to see with them. Their first game is against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So in that one, I give them a win there. Falcons win that one very close against Pittsburgh. They're going to be good at home. So I'll take the Falcons on that one. They get the win there. They're 1-0. Monday Night Football against the Eagles. Well, we all know how Kirk Cousins is on prime time, except when he got that rare win last year against the San Francisco 49ers, where he had a phenomenal game until he got injured. So I will say in this one will be the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are going to smoke them. So I'd say the Eagles get the win here. So right now they're 1-1. Against the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, again, we know how Kirk Cousins is on primetime. 1-2, they're going to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. Saints Falcons. This one I'm going to say Falcons get a win here. They're going to split with the New Orleans this year. So I say they do get a win here at home. So they're going to be 2-2. They win very close, probably by a field goal. Buccaneers Falcons. I'm going to take the Falcons in this one right here. I say another split here between these two when we get to them. They get the win, probably winning in overtime or by a last-minute field goal. Or maybe Baker gets to Mike Evans. Probably that will be the deciding factor on that one. Falcons, Panthers. Falcons get the win here over the Carolina Panthers. Carolina's not going to be that good. And like I said in the preview with Carolina, I think Carolina's going to be the first 0-17 team. Next one is Seahawks, Falcons. Ooh, this is a tough one here. Atlanta is good at home, but Seattle I know is not good on the road at times. So I'm going to take Atlanta in this one. Atlanta wins this one close. I don't know how, but Atlanta wins close. I think maybe by a field goal or something like that. But I say Atlanta gets a close win here. Next one is Falcons, Buccaneers. They take a loss here to the Bucs. The Bucs split with them. Buccaneers win with this one, but Baker going to probably Mike Evans getting the win here. Next one is Cowboys, Falcons. Cowboys win this one. We all know how Kirk Cousins is against the Cowboys. He sucks against us. He only has that one rare win against us. That was due to Jason Garrett's stupidity. Out of this one, the Cowboys get the win here, and they will destroy Kirk Cousins. Falcons, Saints, that is a loss. The Saints get the win here. They split with them. Saints win in a close one at home against the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons, Broncos. In Denver, it is not easy to win down there due to that altitude, but when you're dealing with Zach Wilson, I think Atlanta does get the win here, wins it very close. Now, I don't think this is going to turn to a Colorado Rockies Braves game. I think it will be a little bit competitive. I think the Falcons win probably by a last-minute touchdown or field goal. Chargers, Falcons. I'm going to go LA Chargers on this one. I think the Chargers are going to be a lot better than people think. I give the Chargers the win here against Atlanta. Falcons, Vikings. I'm going to go Atlanta on this one. I can see Kirk Cousins destroying the Minnesota Vikings, his old team there. They get the win there. Falcons, Raiders on a Monday Night Football. Raiders get the win here because we all know, again, we know how Kirk Cousins is on primetime. Again, even if, and that would be regardless. If the Raiders have a bad record, I might switch it and go to Atlanta. But we'll wait and see when we cross that bridge in December. Giants, Falcons. I'm going to go Atlanta on this one. Atlanta gets the win here. Kirk Cousins is going to destroy that New York defense. They get the win there. Falcons, Commanders. I see Atlanta winning this one. I could see Kirk Cousins destroying his first team that he was with. See him destroying the Commander. He gets the win there. And then Falcons, Panthers. Falcons get the win here. Now, this is possibly either them getting the division or fighting for a wild card spot. But a breakdown of the record, we're going to wait and see. So I'm going to break down Atlanta's record right now. They're going to be 1-0 against the Steelers. They're going to be 1-1 against the Eagles, 1-2 against the Chiefs, 2-2 against the Falcons, 3-2 against Tampa, 4-2 against Carolina, 5-2 against Seattle, 5-3 against Tampa, 5-4 against Dallas, 5-5 against the Saints, 6-5 against Denver, 6-6 against the Chargers, 7-6 against Minnesota, 7-7 against the Raiders, 8-7 against the Giants, 9-7 against the Commanders, and 10-7. So there's the possibility they can sneak in as a wild card, but I don't know about winning the division yet. But I think they're going to sneak in as a wild card. Third team on the list is the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, we're going to pull up the Vikings schedule right now. Vikings, with their history, they have Kirk Cousins no longer there. He went to Atlanta. Justin Jefferson signed a huge contract deal. but they have the quarterback and Sam Darnold. So we're going to see how they do. So we're going to pull up Minnesota's schedule. Their first game is against the New York Giants. If that game was in Minnesota, I would give the Vikings the Duke here. But Darnold is not that good. Neither is Danny Jones. But in New York, I'm going to go the Giants on this one. I really don't think that I don't see Darnold doing it here. Even though I know Darnold wants to get revenge against the New York because he was with the Jets in that state. I just don't. I just don't see it. I just don't. And I'm going to take the Giants this one. The Giants win this one in an upset. I say it's probably going to be a very low scoring game. This is probably going to be like maybe a Wild Islanders game, a Mets Twins game, or whatever. But I just don't see it. I just don't see Minnesota winning that one. So they're going to be 0-1. Next one we have is 49ers Vikings. 49ers are going to wipe the floor with them. So 49ers get revenge if they're losing on Monday Night Football to them. They're going to be 1-1. They're going to be 1-1. They're going to be 0-2, actually. I take that back. 0-2. Texans, Vikings, that is a loss. Houston's going to wipe the floor at them. You're 0-3 right there. Even in Minnesota, Texans get the win. They're going to be 0-3. Vikings, Packers. Packers get the win here with Jordan Love and company. Jordan Love is going to destroy them. So that's another loss for the Vikings. They're right now at 0-4. Jets, Vikings. Aaron Rodgers handles the Vikings pretty good, regardless of if it's in the United States. But this is going to be in London. I'm going to take the New York Jets on this one. They get the win here. Lions, Vikings. I'm going to take Detroit on this one. Detroit gets the win. They will destroy Minnesota. In Minnesota, that's another win. Vikings, Rams. I'm going to go the Rams on this one. I can see Stafford going to Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and Tyler Higbee. They get the win there. Colts, Vikings. I see Indianapolis getting a win here. Anthony Richardson's going to have a good day. Jaguars, Vikings. I'm going to go the Jags on this one. They get the win. Trevor Lawrence will destroy the Vikings defense on that one. So we have another win, loss there. Vikings, Titans. This will be the first win for the Vikings. So I will give them that one right there. I don't think the Titans are going to be that good. So I will give the Vikings their first win is going to be against the Titans. Vikings, Bears in Chicago. That's going to be a loss. I see Chicago winning that one close. That one could turn into a Blackhawks versus a Wild game, or even a Cubs versus the Twins or White Sox Twins, whatever. Cardinals, Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings in this one. I think Vikings win that one close at home. They're going to get a win there. Falcons, Vikings. Falcons get the win there with Kirk Cousins destroying his old team, having something to prove. Last one is Bears, Vikings. Vikings get the win here. They're going to split with Chicago. They get the win there. Vikings, Seahawks get that win because at home, we all know how Seattle is. That's going to be a win. Packers, Vikings. Packers get the win and sweep the Minnesota Vikings. And then the last one is Vikings, Lions. I will go with Detroit, and they get the win there. So a breakdown of the Vikings record we have is they're going to be 0-1 against the Giants, 0-2 against 49ers, 0-3 against Houston, 0-4 against Green Bay, 0-5 against the Jets, 0-6 against the Lions, 0-7 against the Rams, 0-8 against the Colts, 0-9 against the Vikings, 1-9 against the Titans, 2-9 against the 1-10 against the Bears, 2-10 against the Cardinals, 2-11 against the Falcons, 3-11 against the Bears, 4-11. So they're gonna be they're gonna be 4-13. They're not gonna make the playoffs, and it's gonna be a big rebuild for them. And the last one on the list, Detroit Lions. Pulling up Detroit's schedule right now. Detroit, a team that everybody did very good last year, won their division. Shocking. I did not have them going to an NFC championship. As far as I had them was losing in the divisional to us, and look how that statement aged well. But right now is with Dan Campbell. He's getting a lot of flack for posing with Hulk Hogan, and the Detroit fan base did not like it. But I will say this about Dan Campbell. He's a good coach. Gets overly aggressive through time. I love aggressiveness, but there's time where you don't need to be too aggressive. I'll give 2 instances. When he played against the Cowboys against us, going for 2 against us, he shouldn't have did. Because in my opinion, Dak Prescott is not on the level. I like Dak Prescott, and I love my Cowboy, but I will say Dak Prescott is not on the level of Patrick Mahomes, where I'm afraid to face him in an overtime. Because Dak's overtime record is not the greatest, to be honest with you. Second one was against the NFC Championship against the 49ers. That, I understand who you want to beat them, but you had the lead. You don't have to keep putting the gas on them. And that's when you got a little too overly aggressive, and it cost you. So, and that's why I think, Detroit's going to win. I think good. I have Detroit as far going, in my opinion, is to an NFC Championship. maybe to a Super Bowl. Same with the Green Bay Packers, too. But we'll wait when I get to that with my predictions in August. But a breakdown of their schedule right now. Detroit's first game is against the LA Rams. Detroit gets the win on Sunday Night Football against the Rams. They win that one very, very close. I'm going to say probably in an overtime or by a field goal. So I'm going to say Detroit gets the win there. They are 1-0. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. They're going to get the win there. They're going to be 2-0 right there. They're going to beat Tampa Bay. I say that one probably be a two-score game. Next is against the Arizona Cardinals. Oh, they're going to kill Arizona. That right there, even with Kyler or not, they get a win there. They're 3-0. Against the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football, they get a win here. They're 4-0. They get the win there. Next game is against the Dallas Cowboys. That is a loss, but I'm not playing devil's advocate on my own team. I called this a humble loss. Detroit at times in Dallas has not fared well in Dallas. And in this one, I can see Dallas winning again, probably by either close by a field goal by Brandon Aubrey, possibly a last-minute touchdown by CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, even though CeeDee Lamb is holding out, I do think CeeDee Lamb is still going to be with the Cowboys come the regular season. He will be playing for us come week 1 against Cleveland. So I do see Dallas winning that one close, but this is a humble loss for Detroit. This is a humble loss. Lions, Vikings. Lions get the win. They bounce back from that ugly loss, that humble loss from the Cowboys. They get a win here. Titans, Lions. Detroit gets a win here at home, beating Tennessee, and they smoke them with probably what I'm on by Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Gibbs, and Laporta, and probably David Montgomery. Lions, Packers. This is going to be a loss. I see Green Bay and Detroit splitting with each other right here. So I am going to go with the Green Bay Packers. The Packers get a win close on this one. Lions, Texans. This one will be a loss. Houston and Detroit. This is going to be a sleeper good game when it gets to it on Sunday Night Football, but I see Houston getting a win here close. I see Houston winning in an overtime. So Detroit loses, and they're going to be on a 2-game losing streak. Next is Jacksonville and Detroit. Detroit bounces back off of the 2-game losing streak. They beat Jacksonville very, very close. So they get a win here against Jacksonville. Jacksonville and Indianapolis. This could go either way in this one, but I think Detroit is a way better than Indianapolis. So I think Detroit gets the win here. They probably will be in an overtime with Indianapolis down the road, or probably a last-minute field goal. So I'm going to take Detroit gets the win here. Chicago and Detroit. In Detroit, Detroit gets the win here. They win at home against Chicago, win that one. Detroit and Green Bay on Thursday Night Football. Detroit splits with the Packers. They get that win back, and they have a split with the Green Bay Packers. Lions, Bills. Now, if this was in Buffalo and Buffalo still had Stephon Diggs, I would have gave Buffalo the win here, wins it very close. But in this one, I'm giving Detroit the win here. Detroit wins very, very close. I'm going to say probably by a last-minute touchdown or a field goal or in an overtime. It goes in overtime. We know how Josh Allen's in overtime. Detroit has a win here, so we have Detroit with a win here. Lions, Bears. That is going to be a loss. I see. That game is on Thanksgiving between Detroit and Chicago. I just saw that. All right, you know what? That Chicago, because how Detroit has been playing on Thanksgiving, and I have been fooled so many times, but in this one, I think Detroit finally breaks that jinx of Thanksgiving. They do. So I'm going to keep that as a win. Where are we on? Now it's Detroit, Chicago, second meeting. Detroit and Chicago is screwy all the time. I see another split. Chicago pulls it off with some win. They get the win here. I don't know how, but Chicago pulls it off. Next one we have is Lions 49ers in San Francisco. I got to give the 49ers that one. It's not going to be easy for Detroit to beat them in San Francisco, so I'm going to give San Fran that win there. And then Vikings, Lions. Lions get the win here while they're trying to fight for that 1 seed or the division with Green Bay. So a breakdown of Detroit's record. They will be 1-0 against the Rams. They will be 2-0 against the Bucks, 3-0 against the Arizona Cardinals, 4-0 against Seattle, 4-1 against Dallas, 5-1 against Minnesota, 6-1 against Tennessee, 6-2 against Green Bay, 6-3 against Houston, 7-3 against Jacksonville, 8-3 against Indy, 9-3 against Chicago, 10-3 against Green Bay, 11-3 against Buffalo, 11-4 against Chicago, 11-5 against the 49ers, and then 12-5. They have a record of 12-5, and we'll wait and see what occurs when I get down to the breakdown. So as of right now, the Uno deck is going to be going because we're down to our last four teams. So the Uno deck is now officially done. We won't see it again until next year when we do another schedule analysis. As all in all, before I end, it's just been enough time for talk. It's time for kickoff. I'm Dave Walker, and we'll see you on the field. Goodbye, everybody.